Thanks for logging on to MyFoxHurricane.com. We continue to watch Tropical Storm Elsa. We've had this big flare-up of convection through the overnight hours. Hurricane reconnaissance plane flying down there this morning to see if that big flare-up was indicative of an intensifying storm, and what they found was really no. They did not find the pressure falling in this system. They are still finding those winds sitting right around 65 miles an hour, and it is still working its way on towards the northwest at about 14 miles an hour. You can see that track in and around some of the deeper areas of convection and also through the center, and they are now working their way back on home, and we'll continue to see more of these flights heading out into the system over the coming days. Just invaluable information they get inside these storms. It really gives you a better idea of the structure of these storms, and then we can plug all that into these computer models and come up with these forecasts. So right now, winds 65 miles an hour, moving to the northwest at 14. The pressure holding right around 1,006 millibars. Now it's going to continue to work its way over Cuba as we go through the day today, just simply because of the land interaction moving over Cuba. That will weaken this somewhat, and then it works its way up into the Gulf of Mexico. Now, we all know we've got warm water in the Gulf of Mexico, so warm water feeds these tropical systems, but there's also stronger wind shear that will be coming from the south and the southwest. That wind shear, it tends to knock the top right off the storm, and so that will tend to weaken the system. So you've got two counteracting forces here, but it does look like we will see at least some strengthening of this system as it works its way across the Gulf of Mexico. Still looks like sitting off our coastline. The forecast track's been nudged just ever so slightly to the west, so a little bit further away from us. That's good news because the tropical storm force winds, they extend out about 70 miles from the center. So the further that we can see this pushing away from us, that keeps those stronger winds off the coastline. But now what we can expect with this is as we head into tomorrow afternoon, into the evening, and then early on Wednesday, I think we start to see those winds picking up. We see the strong gusty winds, the possibility of some isolated tornadoes, the heavy rain. Some of this could be flooding rain. Remember, we've had a lot of rain here over the weekend, so the ground is saturated, and there's just not a lot of areas for that rain to go at this point. And then along the coastline, we also have that threat, that storm surge threat. We'll be watching that as we go through the coming days as well. So right along the coastline, you can see where the watches and the warnings are. I was talking about this throughout the morning hours, that warning that would be extended further to the north. And now we are basically all across west central Florida sitting under that tropical storm warning. That just tells us the event is closer to us. That wasn't unexpected. We knew that would be happening. Today, still not an issue. If you've got to get out, you got to do those last minute preparations. Today is not a problem. The winds are still light. You can get outside. Some of the simplest things you can do, bring in the lawn furniture, bring in the trash cans, and anything that can get blown around very easily. So as we watch this storm working its way to the north, storm surge 2 to 4 feet along the coastal areas. You look at the various computer models, and this is what we call the GFS ensemble, where they're running the model over and over again, just changing some of the input variables. And you can see the forecast track kind of lining up with most of those models. But then when you look at the European still wants to nudge us maybe a little bit further towards the west. So we may continue to see a little bit more of a nudging towards the west. I don't think we're going to see any drastic changes with this, but overall, I'll tell you, the GFS has done really a phenomenal job with this thus far. So you look at this compared to Eta just last year, and fairly similar tracks. And what we saw with Eta was a storm surge 2 to 4 feet, wind gusts 50 to 70 miles an hour, heavy rain, isolated tornadoes. We had that storm surge along the coastline as well. So it gives you just kind of an idea, a perspective here of what we could expect to see with Elsa. So we'll continue to watch this very closely. And there, once again, you can see some of those big flare-ups of convection with this. And we're going to keep you updated right here on MyFoxHurricane.com.